Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the face of a puppet master. Hello everyone, I'm Dan the Man. Well, a double eviction is come and gone, and 6 are left standing to tell the tale while 2 have said goodbye to their time in the house. One of them comes as a little surprise to most of us. The other one? Well, let's get into it. As we saw last week, the head of household happened, and Kaycee won her first head of household. And with that, level 6 was once more sitting pretty, and Hayleigh found herself hoping for a miracle. Not surprisingly, Hayleigh went up. Everyone, including Hayleigh, knew that was going to happen. The only real question was who would be sitting next to her. And that someone was Sam. And it looked like the longest running rivalry in the house, and the most ridiculous honestly, was finally going to come to a conclusion. And I love Sam's DR when she went up. Tell us how you really feel, Sam. Do sweet Southern Belles always want to go Incredible Hulk on everything when it looks like they might not win something? I feel like beating a dead horse because I think I made it well known. I think Sam's a passive-aggressive, hypocritical idiot who has no idea what she's doing. But I got to unpack her statement. Sam, by her definition, clearly thinks that if they put her up, telling her she is safe, and then vote her out, aka blindside her, she will apparently get violent and destroy the house. Now, I doubt she would have actually done that. She was just upset. I'll give her the benefit of that. But what she is describing is the same thing that her allies have done to people almost every week. It is exactly the same as what Miss Friendship Bracelet did to Winston. So apparently, the cruel act of blindsiding isn't wrong when it happens to someone else. I also hate to use this phrase because man is it overused, but this is a game. Sam has the mentality that putting people up and voting them out are about judging someone as a bad person. And I would think the sweet, kind person she claims she is over and over would be against even participating in something like that. No one wants to get Hayleigh out because they are deeming her a horrible human being. Save Sam, apparently. They want her out because it helps their game to get her out. She plays with the mentality of this is about judging the righteous, and voting someone out is the equivalent of putting someone in the hospital, and it's ridiculous and tiresome. We are way too far into this thing to still be viewing Big Brother like that, and she has been playing long enough now to have no excuse not to get that. But anyway, Hayleigh knew she was not likely to stay this time, as she was the last Hive member standing while Sam was close with Kaycee. So Hayleigh knew she was in a lot of trouble. To her credit, she did try to make inroads with the other side, especially Tyler, Kaycee, and Angela, who due to winning everything were basically controlling the house. They hid how Hayleigh's attempts to save herself came off in the actual episodes to try to build suspense, but as anyone who watched the feeds will tell you, she was laying it on real thick. Frankly, way too thick. Her enthusiasm to bond with them and suck up to them was amplified up to 110%, and it was pretty obvious to anyone, including Orwell, that's the stuffed owl by the way, yes it has a name, who was hooting for Hayleigh to dial it back a notch. To be fair, I'm not sure what else she could have done to make inroads with anyone. She probably could have not quite been so much with it, but I doubt it would have helped either way. But still, I actually like Hayleigh, and I was cringing watching her suck up to them so without shame, knowing it did no good. Hell, I think even she knew it wasn't working. So with her chances of sucking up well enough to save herself pretty much non-existent, it all came down to the veto competition. And it was a classic. BB Comics. I love BB Comics because, as some of you might have noticed if you checked out my channel beyond my Big Brother videos, I'm a huge comic book fan. And I like that they gave it a new setup instead of recycling the same set like they have since they came up with the competition. It was a nice change, and the competition was a lot of fun. Well, a lot of fun for everyone except maybe Hayleigh, because as we saw, Kaycee won her 3rd veto in a row. Let's go indeed. And Hayleigh was screwed. To no one's surprise, Kaycee didn't change her nominations. A lot of fans were hoping she would backdoor JC, and I would like to have seen that myself. But any fans who thought that was a good idea are frankly being blinded by their dislike of JC. Hayleigh was most likely going to put up Kaycee and Angela if she wasn't head of household again, and has shown she can win a head of household competition. Yeah, the same could be said for JC about who he would put up, but JC can't win anything, and I think it's safe to say he isn't going to start winning a lot of comps like Angela and Kaycee have, so he was the lesser evil. They could have put him up to make him squirm, but he undoubtedly would have thrown a fit, and I think they honestly just didn't want to deal with it. But either way, the votes stayed the same, and eviction night came, and Hayleigh's luck ran out. I was sorry to see her go as I was personally rooting for her, but due to a bad alliance, and not entirely without her own mistakes added to it, Hayleigh had been on borrowed time for a long time. If she had one head of household this week or last week and made a big move like putting up Tyler and Angela, she might have changed the house dynamic enough to buy her some time. But even it was a long shot, and while it wasn't for lack of trying, she just couldn't get that head of household or veto, and her time finally ran out. I will give her credit. She tried and never gave up, only truly starting to resign herself to her fate after the veto competition. She was not a great player, but she had heart. She also left with class and without giving any speeches to tear into anyone, which they were genuinely worried about because level 6 can dish it, but they can't take it. And she at least showed to be a bigger person than most of this season, and left with dignity. I do want to get into something before evaluating if she was the right choice. And that was level 6 constantly reassuring her that she was staying, no matter how many chances she gave them to just come clean and tell her she was going home. In short, why? What was the point? Here's a truth that most people don't like to hear, but I'm going to say it anyway. Blindsides make good TV, but they are almost never a good strategy move. All they do is lead to people leaving bitter, which they then potentially take out on you in the voting jury. And level 6 is constantly doing this kind of thing even when there's no need to, does nothing but shows that they are poor sports and very immature. The head of household began, and going into this week, it looked like if Tyler or Angela won head of household, they planned to work with Kaycee to try and blindside Brett. Brett had been mentioning to JC and even Tyler to get out Angela, and level 6 decided it was best to get him before he got them. They also seemed to have some kind of righteous indignation. How dare he backstab them before they can blindside him, but that's not the first time that logic is used in Big Brother. Either way, with Tyler and Angela winning more comps individually than any of the other 3 competitors combined, Brett was in big trouble and didn't know it. I was kind of hoping JC would somehow win head of household and put up Kaycee and Angela, just because it would have made for some good television at least. If JC's ass isn't going to go home, he could at least entertain me for once. But it didn't happen, and Tyler won head of household. Now I will be honest, Tyler obviously wanted Angela and Kaycee around over Brett, but he was safe no matter who won the head of household. So given the way he had been playing so far, with only ever making the safe moves, I was sure he was going to throw this competition to keep from potentially getting any kind of backlash and blood on his hands. But credit to him, he stepped up and won, which was good for their plan because Angela, despite usually being good at this kind of competition, choked. I don't know if she was nervous or what, but it was clear from the look on her face she sure didn't throw that. Tyler was now head of household, and the plan began as he put up JC and Sam with the plan to backdoor Brett. And Sam decided she would join the club of asking the warm-blooded guy in his 20s to backstab the hot girl he was making out with. Because apparently she's so awesome, guys will betray their girlfriends for her. It worked so well with Fessy, right? And she started her begging to stay because she's a good person. Now, I already addressed my thoughts on Sam thinking your being a good person is the barometer for if she should stay or not, because apparently they're in a morality contest. But it was annoying as hell hearing someone who spent over a month whining she just wanted to go home, crying how unfair it was someone was, so she thought, going to send her home. She thinks she deserves to stay more than Angela? Well, you know what? Angela's a grade A bitch, but she also has played her butt off and worked hard to stay, while Sam was whining she wanted to go home. So no, Sam, you don't deserve to stay over Angela, because Angela's doing something besides whining while not doing anything else. Sam didn't even care enough to pretend she prepared a speech to stay during her plea. And it wasn't because she was so sure she was staying, although she was. It's because she's hopeless at this. This is not strategy. This is someone who came in because they wanted 15 minutes of fame and got in way over their head. And is being kept around because everyone sees she can't handle it, so they're not worried about her winning. Man, why couldn't Brett have saved himself? But he didn't, as the veto competition came, and possibly because Brett felt safe and Tyler encouraged him to not try too hard, or because he sucks at competitions, maybe both, Brett didn't win. Nor did JC, who likely didn't think he needed to, but he definitely sucks. So Brett's fate was all but sealed. Angela won the veto, and it was time to send Brett packing. The poor dumb bro had no idea. Angela and Tyler then worked a plan that of course involved twisting the knife as they sent him on the block. Well, I can't say they don't do it to their friends also. Brett seemed to take it well enough, although he might get his revenge on finale night, depending on who makes it to the end, but it was so unnecessary, especially from people who spent all week worrying Hayleigh would taunt them with the speech, and then they went and did that themselves again not 20 minutes later to someone that they like. I'm just over it. Not only is it bad jury management, but it's a sign they really need to grow up. With Brett on the block at JC's place, he was quickly sent packing. I will give him props. I expected him to be bitter as they sent him home, but he seemed to be a good sport. Don't know if it was because he actually was, or it happened too fast for him to react. I have a feeling if it hadn't been a double eviction, he might have gone out with a bang in his speech, which I guarantee you is a large part of why they voted him out at the double eviction. But he handled it with more class than I thought he actually had, so props to him. With that, Big Brother went off the air before the new head of household could be crowned. But as always, I have the spoilers. So if you don't want to know, stop now. Really, stop now. Last chance. Angela won the head of household. Many are disappointed, as that would seem to make this week predictable, as it would seem that it is now only a question of if Sam or JC goes home. Honestly, I'm fine with either, but you never know. As Brett found out, crazy things can happen, and things are not always what they seem. But either way, I'll be back next week for my thoughts on Angela's head of household, whoever goes home on Wednesday at a surprise eviction, well, surprise to the house guest anyway, along with the next head of household, veto, and eviction to be aired on Thursday. I would say it seems all but a given we're heading to a Tyler, Angela, and Kaycee Final 3, but maybe I'm wrong. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all next week as Big Brother nears its conclusion. I'm Dan the Man, and I'll see you next time.